Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay that we have faced ourselves in. We've had another lobby issue to try and get people into the lobby, but we're finally here now. I'm doing my next stint while J. Cole is having his well-deserved break. My first person who is joining me in the commentary box is for only doing 1 hour this time instead of 2. It is the lovely Austin Smith. How you doing, Austin?
I'm doing fantastic, Jess. It's been a while since we two have been in the booth together, but I'm looking forward to this very much. And I do like China as a track. I'm very much looking forward to that as well. And there's always the chance of rain.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like it's going to be rainy at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see as we load into the lobby then. China is one of those tracks where tire degradation is a bit difficult for the drivers to manage, but we'll find out as we load in to the session, as we're just waiting for all the drivers to get their setters up, of course. We've got quite a mixture of drivers this time, and we've got obviously CRG, I believe, representing the meme team. We'll go through the drivers overall once we get their qualifying lap, as they had to get the lobby set up really quickly, because otherwise there are delays. So let's see who we can go on board with. I'm on board with Danestar. Who are you on board with?
Same.
Right, okay, do you want to take us on that lap with Danestar?
Yeah, sure. So turn 1 right here, very, very tricky one, very long, and it almost never ends. Turn 2, this counts as 2 different corners. And then at turn 3, this left-hander here. You need to go for a late apex into turn 2 there. 4 right here, left-hander flat out. 5 is only just a little kink. Then we get to the Daniel Ricciardo corner, the full send corner. Fantastic overtaking opportunity if you get a good exit out of 4. And now we get to a little bit of a boring sector. It's a long left-hander, but it's pretty much flat out. Then slight braking zone here into a right-hand of turn 8. Tricky left-hander here, double left-hander 9 and 10. Watch out on the exit. Easy to run a little bit wide there and completely mess up your lap. There's the safety car on track. No, okay, that's ghosted. Anyway, for me that was on track. Turn 11, 12, long snake corner. Huge banking here that helps the cars, but still, you need to get it right, because right here, the long 1.2 kilometer straight. One of the longest straights on the calendar, and it all ends in this. The hairpin, turn 14. Heaviest braking zone on track by far. 15, this little kink here, this little right-hander, not really counts as much. And then turn 16. Again, another difficult one on the exit. You can get it wrong, and across the line. Danestar gets P5.
That is pretty good, and on pole for the first time in this 24-hour event is the ILRT team of Thomas, who is representing them. So that is not a bad lap time from one of the Mercedes team. Anyway, we've got a few people that invalidated their lap, and quite a few people going on the softs. And speaking from my experience in a league race yesterday, the softs don't last very long at all. They only last 5 laps. So yeah, that is going to be interesting to say the least. But at least they can get their first stops out the way and then go on to a fresh set of hards or mediums, and then go on to another set of mediums to the end, most likely. But the ones outside the top 10, they can start on whatever tire that they would like to, which I do believe most people start on the mediums. That's pretty much a no-brainer. So here are the results, and I'll go through it quickly. We've got Thomas, Alonso, Luca, Aaron, and Danestar, Dynastics, Gamer, Greeny, then Pablo, then Praga, then Speedster, then Flip-Flop, Fish, Bagbones, Dylan, Gary, Virus, Verstappen, Bear, Terminal, and I didn't see who was last on my screen there.
That was Harry. He was disqualified.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah. So, yeah. So we are about to get ready then to start this race then. It is around 16 corners, this 5.4 kilometer circuit. And it hasn't been, this is one of those tracks where it hasn't been altered at all since it was built. And there is 2 DRS zones, one at the back straight of, I think let me just have a look, turn 15 and 16, no, 14 and 15, 13 and 14, and yes, then towards 16 into the start-finish straight, I believe. So,
yes.
Yeah, that I've got it right eventually.
Yeah. The DRS straight on the back straight, on the 1.2 kilometer long straight between turns 13 and 14, really only starts about 1/3 into the straight. So for the first part of it, you don't get the DRS. You do get slipstream, obviously, and you can use your ERS to your advantage already. And then about 1/3 into the straight, the DRS kicks in, and that's when you're really going to make the move.
Yeah, definitely. As we are going to start the formation lap then, as I get all my telemetry up. There we go. So, we are going to see then what tyres everybody has qualified on. I just want to check if my sound is okay. Yeah, it looks like it's okay. That's all good. So, everybody is on the softs except Speedster, Bagbones, Dylan, and Terminal Datey. So they're on the medium compounder tyres. No one opted for the hards, obviously, because it is a two-stock strategy. No one has forgotten it yet. And it's more than likely that this is the night stint for most of these guys, apart from a few Americans. That a few people might forget unless they've raced before. But the fatigue is starting to get in for these drivers. They don't get as much sleep as we were discussing off air about this 24-hour, really. It just ruins your sleep pattern, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been there before, and 24-hour anything just messes up your sleep schedule completely, and it's something you need to be aware of beforehand. And everyone who's done any kind of endurance sim racing before, 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, anything like that, you know that how much it takes out of you, how much it tires you, and you really need to recover after this, and you need to be aware of it pretty much beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. So Thomas is starting on pole with Alonso in NXX in second and TUF in third. Now, NXX has done really well in this 24 hours so far, as well as the Prix team, and we'll go through the standings once all the admins have updated it. They are updating it as we speak right now. Actually, we can give you an update right now, as Prix is leading with 211 points with NXX in second. We've got TUF in third, Team Smooth Operator in fourth place, and we got the Mean Team in fifth place. I won't have time to go all through all of them because everyone is about to line up for the grid. And I'll let you take the start since you're going to be your only race.
All right, thank you very much. One more thing before they get underway. ILRT is currently down at P19 with only 44 points, but they have a huge opportunity here with Thomas on pole position. But here we are for the Chinese Grand Prix. We are about to get underway. I think the game has sorted itself out. Yes, indeed, the lights turn on. And they're off, and ILRT Thomas seems to not have a really good start, although, yes, he does. It looked a little bit different there, but he goes into turn one in the lead with NSX Alonso right behind him. Behind that, there's a couple of position changes, position switches, but it seems like everyone made it well through the first section of corners. That is quite surprising, I have to say, but because usually this snake corner always catches someone out, but ILRT Thomas leads the way through the first sector ahead of Alonso and Aaron Collingwood, who already made up one position on TUF Luca.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Aaron and other people that's making position. Greeny LFC is trying to make a move around the inside of Danestar for P6 there into another part of the S section of sector 2. Very tricky to get right in these couple of sets of corners. Looks like Danestar has got the move though, but Greeny is not going to leave that much space at all. It's going to be really tight for Danestar and Greeny to get through. There's not room for two. They're touching wheels again. I don't know, that is probably there's not much damage luckily, but I think there might be a bit of complaining there if it does happen again. We've got Praga that is on the back of these lot as well. We've got obviously Flip Flop Fish and Pablo as well. It's looking like it's going to make the move with no DRS, don't forget. So let's see what Praga can do. He's going to get the inside. He almost got the inside, but he couldn't quite do it. He has to back off a little bit. He's going to get the switch back into, I can't remember what turn it is.
16.
16. There we go. I'll eventually get the Pablo's gone off. Pablo's gone off. He's cut the corner there. I think that's an illegal overtake there, so surely he's going to let through. And Speed has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. That's not the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, he completely messed up the pit entry. He was one of 3 drivers trying to get into the pits. Dainstar and Verstappen, the other 2. And for Verstappen, that is a front wing change. And for Dainstar, it's not. It's just trying to get off of these soft tires, which isn't really the worst idea possible. It's a different strategy now. He has a lot of clean air in front of him and can just drive on. With 2 stops being mandatory, this is certainly a good strategy.
Yeah, it is. The optimum time for the tyres to last for the softs is 5 laps. Anything after 5 laps, the tyres do start to die, in particularly the rears. So that is what they've got to think about. Would they prefer to be faster on pace, or would they prefer to just go for a very long stint and try and edge it a little bit? If I was them, I would probably go on pace, knowing you can get the mediums on for a very long time. This is one of the first tracks where we could see a lot of people using the hards as one of their options. We've only seen the hards come into use if there excuse me, if there has been any damage, but we might see it due to a scheduled stop soon coming up as well. The gap between Thomas and Alonso is 1.7 seconds. I was not expecting that. We've got Flip-Flop Fish, who's going to make around the outside into turn 15 and 16. Can he make it sit? No, he can't. As someone goes into the pit, I do believe... Multiple, quite a lot actually.
Yeah, it's Alonso, CRG Gamer, Greeny, Praga, and Excel Gary, all in the pits. And these are all scheduled. There's nothing unscheduled. There's no damage about any of these. So these are all planned pit stops at the end of lap 2. And it does offer itself quite a bit to go at the end of lap 2. If you want to get rid of these tires, you don't want to do it lap 1. You'd rather do it lap 2, because that allows you to split your final 26 laps into 2 even sets of 13 each.
Yeah, and the compounds, of course, you have to finish the race on 2 different tyre compounds if it's in the dry, of course, and obviously if they do a medium stint, they will have to do 1 more set on the softs, otherwise they will get disqualified. But yeah, I think that's why a lot of people want to get the softs off really quickly, and then then they can do 2 sets on the mediums quite evenly, no problem at all, and that can last until the end of the race. Something I should have done yesterday, but I completely flopped with that one.
That happens. But one thing that does come into play usually in league racing that really doesn't come into play here today is that there is no point for the fastest lap. If there is, as ILRT Thomas, the leader, goes into the pits, Aaron Collingwood follows him. I'm going to come back to my previous thought in a second. TUF Luca in, Dynastics in, Pablo Joglas in, Flip-Flop Fish in. Everyone's coming in now. Bear Remy is the only one on the soft staying out. Everyone else is coming in.
Wow. I am quite shocked about that. I thought Bear Remy would follow them and respond to them, but obviously not. Dylan is in the lead medium runners at the moment, but obviously we got the others on the softs, as we're probably going to do their soft stint right at the end of this race. That's going to be tricky for Remy, I think, because that is where the mediums are going to start to come to their own. So we're going to watch out for him in this race and also compare his pace to Baggerbones and Dylan as well. If Dylan and Baggerbones start to fall away by more than half a second, then that is trouble for Bear Remy, and that means everybody else will start to catch up on it, and that is not what you want to do. So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and one thing to bear in mind as well is obviously the performance of the soft tires depends on the overall temperature, and you can see it is quite sunny here at the Shanghai International Circuit, so that means those softs have an even shorter lifespan than the 5 laps you mentioned, meaning Bear Remy is really on his last legs with these soft tires and really needs to get into the pits as soon as possible, and he basically already is a lap too late.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, he's already struggling, I can see from the way he's driving the car. I do believe it lasts a little less than Singapore. And Singapore can last about 6 laps, I believe, or 7 laps, whereas China can only last 5. So China is probably one of the difficult tracks on the game to get right with your tyre degradation. There was a few people in the Discord earlier that were complaining about the China tyre attempts. Oh my god, that's a word to say. Anyway, Bear Remy goes into the pits now, and he's going on to a set of medium compounder tyres, which I think is 1 lap too late, like we said, but at least he can concentrate now on his first stint. And we lost another driver, I believe. That is Greeny LFC. He's out of the race then for China. I do believe that was the start of turn 1, I believe.
Yep.
So,
That something serious must have happened there at turn 1, because he just went straight on. I don't know what exactly happened, but that looked quite. There was a lot of debris lying on the apex of turn 1 very early, way before the apex actually. But on the right side, basically when you come out of the pits, that's the line where you would drive right through the debris. And Danestar is going slow. Maybe Danestar and Greeny tangled up. That would be my guess. Because Danestar is going very, very slow. And I can't, unfortunately, I'm in a camera where I can't see the front of that Williams. But yeah, that is heavily damaged. Yeah. Oh my goodness. The left side is just effectively completely gone. He overshoots that turn as well. Yeah, left side completely gone. Right side also damaged, but less. End plates both gone, and on the left side a lot more than that. There's really just the little the bar itself. The wings are all completely gone off of Danestar. I mean, you can see it yourself. But that must have been a severe accident there, I think, between Danestar and Greeny. That's what we're watching right here.
That is unfortunate for him, really. You can't get tangled up in a instance like that, and China of all places as well. He's not going to like being down in a last place out of all the finishes so far. As he goes into the pits, at least he could, if I was him, I would put a fresh set of hards on, because you know the hards last for a long time, and then go on to the soft, so then your strategy is not completely ruined on those medium compounded. No, he's not doing that, he's retiring.
Yeah, the question with the hards is the hard compounded tire lasts around 21 to 23 laps.
Ah, right. Okay.
If he goes in, that would have been 23 laps. He would have. Yeah, they last for a long time, but that's stretching it. And I'm not sure that would have been a viable option. I think it would have been actually better to go onto the mediums and then the softs for a final stint. So effectively making it a 3-stop for Danestar. And he decided not to do that and instead retire in the pit lane.
Yeah, that means 0 points. I will need to actually check what team Danestar was meant to be racing at. It is Team Rogue Nation. So they get 0 points as well. And another team to get 0 points in this race. I couldn't see who it was, because I think they've changed their drivers, I believe, for this stint, so I couldn't check that. But meanwhile, Gamer's gone off and he's got tangled with Luca there in the Renault, so he's lost a bit of time there to him right now, and I think he doesn't have any damage either. I don't think that's why he's continuing on, but a lot of people seem to be tangling in, I think, more mistakes, but due to the fact that obviously some of these guys had no other choice but to do China and the night stint, which is going to be more tricky for them. So they're just going to have to deal with it, I suppose, and just let the fatigue sinking in, and just, if they have any dry eyes, they've, just got to deal with it, really. They just can't give up.
Yeah, China is a difficult track at the best of times. When fatigue kicks in as well, that just makes it all the more difficult, and I think we're seeing exactly that right here. As Dylan seems to just, pull away and drive at his own pace, and he's having a good time so far. Bag of Bones as well, 4 seconds behind Dylan, 6 seconds ahead of Thomas. He's doing a good job, and then Thomas as well with 1 stop already under his belt. He's clear by 3 seconds of Terminal Deity, and he's also 5.5 seconds behind Bag of Bones. So for the top 3, it's smooth running right now, but right behind, there's a bit going on. Aaron Collingwood, Alonso, and Terminal Deity going 3 wide through past the straight. And Aaron Collingwood is the one taking the 4th position there. And NSX Alonso losing out 2 spots there. And I think he brushed the rear of Terminal Deity there. I want to see if maybe he sustained some damage from that, because Dynastics also gets involved now.
Yeah.
That's another position gone, and no damage for Alonso. He's still fine on the front wing, but he did lose 3 position effectively over the course of, what was that, 3 corners?
Yeah, I think so. I think he might have just got a bit of end plate damage, minor front wing damage. I won't be surprised if it's a little bit of a lime green damage, I think it is. So he could just keep going and then just push it as long as he breaks a little bit earlier than usual. Dynastics up the inside of Terminal DT in P6. To be honest, Terminal doing quite well on those medium compounded tyres, and he's the third. Actually, he's the one of the last of the ones who have obviously hasn't pitted yet, I believe, was obviously Dylan and Bag of Bones still yet to pit as well, and then everyone else obviously has done one stop. But Alonso is looking pretty racy on Terminal, going towards just before the DRS straight as he's going to try and dive it in once again. All they touch, no, as Terminal goes off, and that is my commentator's curse of the my first commentator's curse of the stream, and it has happened right here in China. Typical, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you struggled here yesterday, and now you've just passed it on, really.
Yeah,
is what this is, I think. Meanwhile, Pablo Joglar goes up the inside of NSX Alonso into the hairpin. Easy position gained there. Pablo Joglar up into P6. I think we can almost call this a net P4, considering we still have Dylan and Bag of Bones up ahead. Once Dylan and Bag of Bones go into the pits, the pit stop loss here around this track is around 22 seconds. So you can expect Dylan to drop very, very close to Excel Gary in P14, with Bag of Bones dropping possibly to where LR Harry is in P16. If they were to pit now, which obviously they would not do, expect them to come in somewhere between, I would say, the end of lap 10 and the end of lap 13, depending on what kind of strategy they want to go for.
Yeah, I think that's the best move at the moment, because I can't remember how long. I won't know how long I took the mediums, because it was an inter start to the race. But can you remember how long the longest pit stint was on the mediums yesterday?
In the precision tier, I think the longest one was about 15 laps.
Ah, right, okay.
Which somewhat, I think it was Cloudy who did it, and he really overcooked it. He took him too long. The lifespan that I have in my spreadsheet that I have tested out is about 15 to 17 laps, and 17 really stretches it. 17 is, but the lifespan, the way I put it out, is the very end of it. That's puncture territory right there. So 17 laps is really puncture territory. So they fall off the cliff after around 13, maybe 14 laps if you're handling them well.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, that is probably what's the best option to do. Maybe Dylan might be waiting for that time to pounce, and then he could go on another 14 laps. Here you go, and go to the end. Actually, no, he can't, because obviously you have to pit again. No.
Yeah.
Oh.
He would have to. He has to pit twice. One option is to go 12 laps, and then 4 on the softs. Or if you really don't like the softs, 13, and then 2.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's what I would do, because I think that's what a few people have done, actually. Almost certainly, I think, I'm just trying to figure out. Probably Verstappen, maybe he's probably done that.
Meanwhile, Bag of Bones spun around. Thomas did overtake Bag of Bones into turn 11, and then I don't know. I don't want to say Thomas disregarded Bag of Bones down the inside, because he really didn't. He left him space. But they just tangled up, and Bag of Bones unfortunately got spun around there, lost the position to Aaron Collingwood in the process, and now falls into the clutches of Dynastics. Not yet, but Dynastics is getting closer and closer here.
Yeah, don't forget, Dynastics pitted at probably the end of lap 3, whereas everybody else is, like the likes of Dylan, hasn't pitted yet at all. But speaking of which, Bag of Bones is in the pit lane right now, and is probably going to go on a fresh set of mediums, I would say.
It can go either way. It depends on what you want to do. Do you want your soft stint now in the middle and then get a long medium stint at the end? Or do you want to go he goes for another medium stint, in fact. But both options work depending on where you are on the track, or both options might not work depending on where you are on the track. Bag of Bones comes out right behind Bear Remy, and that means to me that it was the better choice to go onto the mediums. If you're stuck behind another car, it's better to be on the same tire as the car ahead. Otherwise, you would have to make the pass quickly. And I don't think Bag of Bones wants to be in that situation where he has to force a pass on Bear Remy.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, it's hard around here to get past in traffic, but if you are lapped, you will get ghosted, so that'll be a relief there. But obviously, if there's someone on a different strategy than you, it's just going to be hard unless you do it through the back straight. But even then, you'll be racing for position. Bear Remy will also be racing for position as well, pretty much in about 8 seconds time. So he doesn't want to lose time to the car in front. He wants to gain time to the car in front, and so it's gonna. I usually find things very difficult in that situation. But in my perspective, if they're on a different strategy, now if I know that I'm holding them up, I will definitely let them through, because then it won't be affecting my race. It won't be affecting their race, and it's not really a rival in the championship, so it doesn't bother me. But it does depend on how you look at it, really. If it's your rival in the championship, of course you don't want to let them through. As a gamer. No,
Harry has spun on the final corner, turn 16. I don't know what Gamer's doing, but Harry has spun. He's pulled a Giovinazzi, spun to the left side on the exit of turn 16 on the start-finish straight, and lost all these positions. He's now down to P17. He was in a fight with TNR Virus and Terminal Deity. They were battling hard over P13 at the time. And that has obviously split up now with that mistake by Harry.
Yeah, Harry's not having a good race, is he? He's on 80 lap on mediums now, and he's probably going to have to pit again for another set maybe of the mediums, and then go to the softs until the end of the race. And due to the fact that the ones on the mediums, they're going to be more risky, or possibly maybe for getting to 2-stop. But again, the game will disqualify them if they haven't gone on the softs anyway. So they probably won't forget, or their Jeff will probably annoy them until they actually pit, which is, mine has done that quite a few times, but I've told him to shut up a few times. So yeah.
Meanwhile, Dylan's on his way into the pits now, so that means we're going to see another lead change there. ILOT Thomas will assume that position. And we see a couple of drivers also getting 5-second penalties for corner cutting or exceeding track limits. I've seen, I think it was Terminal Deity before, who cut the hairpin of turn 14 quite significantly and instantly got a 5-second penalty. Not a warning or anything. Nope, straight 5 seconds. And who was the last one here to do it? There was someone else who just popped up. I don't even remember anymore. I need to look this up now. Dynastics, was it? Dynastics also got a 5-second penalty.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah,
track extension, not corner cutting. So apparently he ran wide somewhere and got a 5-second penalty that way. But Dylan comes back out right behind Excel Gary. And remember, that's what I said earlier. 22 seconds would put Dylan right where Excel Gary is. And that's exactly what happens. However, Dylan gets the position. So he's up to P10. And now has a lot of clear air in front of him. That was a very important overtake in the grand scheme of things, because now on the fresh mediums, on the very, very sparkling new mediums, he has a whole lot of road in front of him.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's timed this just right, you know. I think he's timed that very, very well, because obviously we've got the likes of Flip-Flop Fish. He will have to make his stop. So will Praga. So will Gamer. And once Dylan goes on those soft tyres, he's going to be insanely fast towards the end, as long as he remembers to pit, of course. So, yeah, he's going to possibly get a good finish out of all this. I need to remember where he started. Let me get position changes. He started 14th, I believe, or 13th, if I've done my maths correctly. So, yeah. 14th. So he's probably going to end up probably around about even now. If it's better, probably about P12, which is still pretty good considering he only qualified low down anyways. Praga is into the pits. I wonder if it's for a scheduled stop. I think it is. It is about time to go on the fresh air mediums. Yes, it is. So that's his 2 stops done. He doesn't need to do any more. The mediums can comfortably go till the end of the Grand Prix, and so will Alonso as well.
You say comfortably, I'm not so sure. I said before, 15 laps really stretches it, and this is what he would have to do now, Praga. Came in at the end of lap 13, sees Bear Remy in front of him there, struggling a little bit through the first two corners. And yeah, 15 laps stretches it. Comfortably, I don't think so.
Right.
It's a little bit early to go into the pits. I think now, end of lap 14, if you want to risk it, but I'd rather stay out another lap and maybe come in lap 15, lap 16 even. If I'm on the mediums and I want another set of the mediums. So any of the drivers who have come in already once and got rid of the softs in the first stint, maybe wait until lap 15 or 16 because it's a little bit early and Praga will suffer through the final laps of this race.
Yeah, I think his rear tyres will have it, and he'll lose the back end, and he's probably going to struggle a little bit more. And the Hasses usually tend to struggle with the back end a lot more, I seem to find on this game, as we've got more people in the pits then. At probably a similar time, we've got Verstappen and Gamer and Exa. I think someone got a penalty, which I wasn't sure who it was. I think it was...
Let me check.
It was either a stop go or something else.
No one got a penalty.
Oh, probably someone got it fastest lap then. Okay, so that's all right then. No one has got a penalty. And speaking of fastest lap, Alonso just set a fast lap with a 1:34.349, which is getting close to the fastest lap I would have predicted in this race anyway. As Alonso is going to try and get past Bear Remy around the inside, which he was going to, but he doesn't, as Bear Remy, obviously he has to pit again as well, so it's not a question of if, it's a question of when really, because Bear Remy might be struggling towards the end of this race, because obviously he has to pit for another set of mediums as well. I think he'll probably come at the end of this lap, almost certainly, because I do remember he was on the soft compounded tyres early on and he was struggling, so I think if I was him I would play it safe. But here comes Alonso around the outside, and he is up into 12. Oh, not. Please try and remember. I think it's a net P3. I think. Yeah, a net P3. Obviously, but obviously got Thomas and Alan Collingwood yet to pit. But speaking of that, here comes
here comes everyone.
Bunch, apart from Thomas. Thomas is still out.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be too worried about. He's following his own strategy, and it does make sense. He came in lap, what was that, lap 2, I think? 2 or 3, and now he goes to the end of lap 16, and then he has a 12-lap stint for the end. Yeah, no, he can't, yeah, lap 3, 16, and then to the end. That does make sense. Obviously gives himself a slightly shorter stint to the end. That way his tires are not going to fall off as much as the other driver's tires will. So it gives himself a little bit of an advantage there. I think that is a really good call from him.
Yeah, I think it is. I think the overcut could be as much as powerful as the undercut maybe. So we'll have to wait and see, as Thomas has got to get the best in lap he can, otherwise his hard work is done. Just look at the gap to Alan Collingwood. It's quite a lot.
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Remember, as I said before, 22 seconds the pit stop loss. He's sitting at 24 right now, 23.8. That's looking pretty good. Let's see where it ends up once Aaron Collingwood, as Thomas does in fact come in. Once Aaron Collingwood comes through the hairpin, we get a little bit of a better idea, because maybe he gets a better exit, but he really doesn't. So it's staying at 23.5, 23.6 in fact. So it seems like Thomas also has a slight advantage on the straight in terms of just outright straight line speed. Probably suffers a little bit through the corners, but 23.4 as Thomas now comes out. Aaron Collingwood on the straight. Let's see. Yeah, it is still the lead, the net lead, I should say, for ILRT Thomas. Although he did lose a little bit more. Maybe he took the pit entry a little bit more cautiously, knowing that he does have that kind of a gap to Aaron Collingwood.
Yeah, I think so as well. We've seen that everybody else has got 5-second stop goes to just speeding in the pit lane, and you'll lose more time speeding in the pit lane and getting a 5-second stop go and taking it cautiously in the pit lane. So I think he's done the right thing for doing that, but he's got to worry about Aaron Collingwood right behind him as well as he tries to catch up. But the advantage is Thomas is going to be on fresher tyres. Meanwhile, though, Alonso is getting past some traffic right now as he got past Flip-Flop Fish. Actually, they're fighting for position, Flip-Flop Fish and Alonso. As Alonso's up into 10th place. Bago Bones is, I think, the only one apart from Dylan, Virus and Terminal to yet make their mandatory second stop. If they don't, their team will get 0 points in this race, which you don't want to do that, of course. 3 people have already got no point in this race. We don't want to add a 4-4 5th to that list, I must say, but surely this will hopefully happen. Won't happen as Pablo gets past Virus comfortably there. He's up into 4th place. Virus yet also to make a stop as someone has just been lapped. I do believe it's Harry who is ghosted. I think he left the session a long time ago. And also, as we've got a Toro Rosso that just went wide. I think that was Dynastics. Verstappen in the Red Bull has taken advantage. He's up into 7th. And meanwhile, Luca has just got Virus into turn number 1. And Luca stays 5th on the track. But how much longer can he take it? I mean, TNR doing quite well with putting Virus in the car. It's, I think for the Mercedes cars at the moment. They're doing pretty decent on this China track. Obviously, you have to be good on the straights and the corners. So it's best to get the right balance in so far. Don't forget, we are doing this for a reason. We are doing this for NHS Charities, who are supporting the COVID-19 outbreak here in the UK. So any donation counts. I think we're still on £270 at the moment, unless we've hit
300.
300. Oh yeah, we're on 300. I think we hit that just before we went on. So yeah, thank you for all your support. And if you do !donate, you could get the link to the donation. Every little helps. You don't need to donate that much. I think only a few people. I think there's a few people that donate just a little bit. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, as long as you either support the stream or obviously if you're driving or if you're just watching, it is fine. You don't have to donate if you don't want to, but every little helps. I'm just seeing if Dynastic is getting close to Braga. He is catching. He's got DRS, but it's not quite enough. Actually, he's going to get the better exit into turn 14. A bit of a lock-up as Praga defends to the inside. I think that lock-up costed Dynastics there, and that's Praga stays in P8 then.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm starting to question the strategy of Virus. He's been on these mediums now for 15 laps, and he stays out for at least one more. 16 laps is really stretching it. Is he trying to go on to a final stint?
He's weaving a little bit in that turn just before the end of sector 1. You can see that he was trying to save the car to not get any damage. He is struggling by the looks of things.
Yeah, but he still stays out. That is what I find surprising. And regarding the other 3 drivers who still have to make their stop, Dylan, hold on a second, I've got to put this up. Yeah, there you go. Dylan, Bagabones, and Terminal 80. They haven't used a second compound yet. They've gone, all 3 of them, from medium to medium. So they will get an in-game warning by Jeff that they do need to come in for a different set of compound. And if they bypass that, if they forget about it still after getting an in-game warning, I mean, we can't help them.
No, we can't help them no matter what, really, and you don't want to do that. And we haven't seen anyone forget it yet, and I swear, if someone forgets it here tonight in China, I just don't know what to do. I've experienced it myself about almost a year ago. It was in Britain, actually. Someone actually forgot in the drive, and it costed them the championship. So that could be championship worthy for the teams if they forget the 2 stop. And Virus doesn't know, luckily. He goes into the pit lane a lap later than I thought he was going to be. But at least he's going into the pits to go on to, I believe, the medium. If he does the soft, it's not going to last very long. Oh my God, he is. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? That is... It's
such a gamble. It is such an absolute gamble.
That's what I did, and that's what cost him my race.
So TNR Virus pulling a Jess here.
Yep.
If we can call it that.
I didn't do my research on how long the softs were going to last. I was like, yeah, I thought it will last 8-9 laps.
See,
turned out someone told me, actually, it's 5 laps. I was like,
yeah.
oh, bugger.
you should just ask me before you go racing. I could give you all the stats. I have it always on a spreadsheet. I always test it out before because you want to be prepared. Just ask me next time.
I'll take you up on that offer for Austria.
I can give you the strategies, the pit stop loss, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Virus, he's gonna be left for dead. It's 9 laps that he's gonna have to do on these softs. They lost again. What I've written down is that the soft, I'm talking puncture territory, lasts about 7 laps. Make it 8 on a low fuel, and towards the end of the race and everything, and a fresh set and everything. Make it 8. He has to go 9. That's another 12.5% more than these tires are designed to do.
If you think about it, Austin, I think I was on for like 6 or 7 laps. My rears were already at 60, 70% towards the end of that race, and I was lucky that I was lapped. Because if I wasn't, I would have got a puncher. So, meanwhile, Aaron has got past Dylan up into P2. Where has Dylan come from? Has he made a stop, though? No, he hasn't.
No.
So, that is why he's in 3rd place. He's got to make a stop, though. Jeff will be reminding him, unless Dylan has told Jeff to shut up, which I hope he doesn't. So, I mean, I'm sure Jeff will be telling them where to pit, of course. I'm sure he'll be doing that, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. But that's Alan up a place and Dylan down a place. And the gap, I think this is the closest battle for the lead in a race that we've seen in this 24-hour. The remaining other gaps have been about 5-6 seconds. I mean, out the race I've commentated anyway. So, that must be even pace between Thomas and Aaron. I mean, ILRT hasn't had a win yet. They're at the bottom of the championship. Bois are leading this championship, and they want to get another win under their belts, and they want to see someone other than Louis win. So let's just hope one of these happens.
Yeah, it really is quite fascinating to see the 19th team out of 20 leading this race right now with ILRT Thomas, and the leading team in the championship with Bois being in 2nd place is absolutely fantastic. Whatever happens, unless what we don't hope to happen, that somehow Thomas gets a DNF after all of this. But in any other case, ILRT is going to make a huge jump. Yeah. And get out of that P19, and I mean they're only 20 points behind 16th place LOE. And hold on, who's driving for LOE right now? That would be Excel Gary. He's in 12th. He doesn't have that many points.
And it's Mark in the next 3 rounds, and we know Mark is insanely quick.
Yeah.
So,
Then we got Zenith Online Racing. Who's driving for them right now? Let's see. That would be...
It has changed. The drivers have changed. For some of them anyway. I can't tell who.
No, one of them has changed, and that is...
excuse me. Sorry to cut you there, Austin. Aaron has just got the lead of this race, and apologies that we missed that on stream there, but was that tactical for Thomas? I don't think it was. I think Aaron just had the pure pace on Thomas there. I think
I was on board with Aaron Collingwood. The raw pace, I'm not so sure about the raw pace. He dive bombed him. Let's face it.
Well,
that's what that was. Aaron Collingwood just sent it to the inside.
You've got to do that in a charity event. That's what we saw Onyx do in Baku. He said to me after a few races after Baku, he said, I wouldn't have done those moves if it wasn't for a charity event. So I think Aaron
fantastic.
I think Aaron will be doing the right thing. Luckily, that move was brilliant. After this event, I'm clipping that move and I'm putting it on Twitter because that was amazing. Or, if you want to, after the stream, check out my YouTube channel at JessGave95, cheeky plug. And the race is there. I think it's about 50 minutes in. So, yeah. I could see more people going for like dive bombs here and there. As Bago Bones, he goes in to the pits. I believe it's his third. Actually, it is his second stop. That leaves 2 people yet to make their second stop right now. As I think Terminal Delfy is going to find it a lot harder. As I believe he did start on the soft compounder tyres, whereas Dylan started on the mediums, unless I'm...
No, Terminal Daily started on the mediums.
Oh, right, okay. So they're going to have a similar problem as Dylan by the looks of things. Aaron just locked up. That's gained more time on the RRT guy. I'm just worried for him. I'm just worried either of these guys make mistakes. I just need to try and not commentate as curse either of them, because they'll never let me live it down, to be honest. This is RLRT's best result in a long time. We've mainly seen them right near the bottom of each race, which is unfortunate, but apart from I think the opening few rounds where we've seen them near the top. Meanwhile, Pablo is having trouble with Luca at the moment. Luca's just got past him into turn 1. Breezy's passed him and he's up into 4th place.
Yeah, and to come back to you with the some drivers have changed. One driver has changed, and that was for Team TBC. CC Brain was supposed to drive here, but they've switched to Greeny, who already DNF'd. So everyone else is supposed to be in this race, and they are, and it all works out just fine.
It is getting quite overcast. Or is it just me? I don't think it's going to be enough for rain at the moment, unless they tell me otherwise. I don't know.
Unless it starts to pour down over the course of 2 laps, it wouldn't make a difference anyway. It's probably smart to just stay on those dry tires and just bring it home. Unless it really just absolutely opens the floodgates and the heavyweights would be the best tire. It's just, there's no point in trying to go into the pits, at the end of lap 27, at the end of the penultimate lap.
I think that's the limit.
It's just not worth it.
That's the limit. If you don't pit before then your team will get 0 points, which is a shame, but that's the rules. As Dylan goes into the pit lane, he doesn't forget, luckily. He remembers. I think I won't be surprised if his team has told him in a party, you need to pit now, you need to pit now, you need to pit now. So I think he would have forgot otherwise. Team communication, I've noticed, I think it's crucial. I think he was just waiting to go on those soft compounded tyres, and he can make those last until the end. 4 laps? Yeah. He's going to be alright. He's going to be alright. And if he pitted a lap before, I think it would have been a gamble. But I think Dylan has timed it just right. And look at that. He's in P10. Yeah,
and he has positions to gain in the last 4 laps. If you look 1 second behind NSX Alonso, he's 3 seconds behind Praga. I think P8 is certainly up for grabs for IRO Dylan there. And 4 laps, I think, is perfectly fine. Look at the skies. It's gotten a little bit darker. That means it's gotten a little bit colder. And that means those soft tires can last a little bit longer than they usually would. So 4 laps is going to be just fine. And it's easier to keep them in a working temperature range.
I think they'll be breathing a sigh of relief there, the soft runners. To be honest, I think I would if I was in the cockpit rather than the commentary box. But Pablo probably must be finding it difficult on those mediums. But he's not right now. Oh.
What is Dylan doing? Unbelievable overtake! I've never seen it that early. In the banked snake corner, he just shoots to the inside with the grip he has on the softs, and just he made Alonso look like a schoolboy.
Wow! I mean, if Dylan, don't forget, he started P14 in this race, and he's now up into 9th. That's insane. That is good for the IRO team. That's a hard team name to say. I'm just going to call him Dylan for now. But there we go. And good news, everybody has made their 2 stops. Yay! That's good news. No one has forgotten yet. I bet you at some point probably... Oh, it is raining. I called it.
Yeah. But again, it's so late. It's so late in the race that really this is a difficult question for every driver to answer. Do I go in? Do I go on to the intermediates? Or do I stick it out? it really is a risk either way, because if it suddenly it's raining a little bit, but the track is still mostly dry, and there's still a dry line for sure. Plus, you have 17 cars running, which means the line is going to be a little bit drier because it's constantly getting cleaned and washed of water by cars driving around. That it's going to take a little bit longer to actually be like proper intermediate conditions, as Dylan is preparing for another overtake here on Praga. Dummy to the outside, tried to shoot to the inside, but it wasn't there. Praga defending quite well, but a good exit here from Dylan into the final corner. Not really an overtaking spot unless you're already alongside, and he doesn't do it, but gets DRS here. Praga sticking to the inside. He wants to keep that position. I don't think he can. And into turn one, and yep, the soft tire of Dylan just absolutely dominant here around the outside. Gets the position out there. Praga trying to maybe get a little sneaky inside overtake back on Dylan, but decides that nope, that's not worth it. Dylan up into P8, Praga into P9, and at this point, yeah, even if you get the message DRS disabled, you're still going to stay out on these tires. You're not going to come in. You're not going to come in at the end of lap 27 for one lap of intermediate running. The floodgates haven't opened the way they would have to in order to justify that kind of decision. It's a light rain, and it's perfectly fine to run the dries with less time loss than a whole pit stop of 22 seconds.
One of the tracks where I had a situation where it rained at the end, but not enough for dry tyres was for wet tyres was France, and that was really tricky in itself. You just can't get the car fully planted right. I mean, I don't know how these guys are doing it. I'm not sure if Alan Collingwood is on the pad or not, but you can tell he's struggling right now. As Thomas, let me just see if I look on his cockpit if I can tell he's driving on the wheel. I think he's driving on the wheel.
What I can tell you about Aaron Collingwood and this track right here is that he has, and I'm not lying to you, I think it was a top 10 time on the PS4 global leaderboard around this track. If someone knows his way around here, it's Aaron Collingwood.
I mean, if he wins this, then the Bois team have done a right thing to put him in. And it just goes to show that anyone other than Louis in the team could win a race. It's true, honestly. It is proof in the pudding. It's not just Louis that can win races.
Thomas got a huge slide there out of turn 10 and thankfully held it, but that was a huge sideways moment there on the final lap. Don't throw this result for ILRT away in the final lap.
Oh my goodness.
And in the final sector now. Only 3 more corners to go. Aaron Collingwood's got this in the bag. Does he have penalties? Let me check. I don't think he does. He has 2 warnings, but it's not a penalty. Unless he gets that final corner wrong, in which case ILRT Thomas would actually get the win. And nope, he keeps it perfectly fine within the white lines. And Aaron Collingwood takes the victory here at China, with ILRT Thomas being really close, and a fantastic second place for ILRT. Pablo Jogler comes through the final corner to finish in third. TUF Luca P4, Kvyat Verstappen P5, Dynastics in P6. He's still under pressure from Flip Flop Fish, but Dynastics holds it for P6. Flip Flop Fish 7, Dylan 8, and look at how close he came to both Dynastics and Fish. Praga P9, Alonso 10, Excel Gary 11. Virus is going to finish in P12. Those softs really didn't treat him well in the end here.
You can tell. You can tell by the way he's driving. He's not liking the car at all. He's probably going to be happy that this race is over. So he comes across the line now. Here he goes, 12th place. CLG Gamer in 13th. And then we've got Bagger Bones, what could have been for him, in 14th. And Bear Remy, who stayed on those softs for longer than intended to, is down in 15th place. Only one person has been lapped, and that was the ghosted car of LR Harry, who obviously he disconnected, I believe. So He is not.
Is he going to get points?
I still have. I forgot to check that, but I don't think so.
Okay.
If you leave the session, then it's your AI driving, and it's no point really. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Terminal Deity will be the final one to come across the line in P16. For him, also completely wasted strategy. Really didn't work out well. P16 in the end. That is 5 points.
Yeah. Yeah. So every person in the race gets a point unless you disconnect or don't finish. So it is an added incentive to finish the race because you'll get points from it. And I like that idea that the admins have come up with. It just encourages a much closer racing from wherever you are. As we're going Ayrton Senna on the podium now in the racing point there. I don't know what to think there.
Not exactly the guy he would be.
Alpha. Oh, I don't know why I see multiple racing point.
That's not the racing point, but yeah, not exactly the car he would want to drive if he were alive, I think. But yeah, I gotta say, a fantastic race for both Aaron Collingwood and ILT Thomas. Pablo Jogla doing very well to hold off Luca for P3 and a podium. And then Verstappen Dynastics Flip Flop Fish, who I think has the best username of this whole event.
It's hard to say. Me and Kieran, if you, I think you're probably watching this as well. We found it hard. Well, I was saying on streaming the formation app who was racing in what team, and I need to.
I give you some advice. If you focus on not pronouncing an L in fish, you get it right. Flip flop fish.
Flip flop fish.
If you just make sure you focus on that fish, you know it's a fish. The rest will come by itself. You know how to pronounce the word flip. You know how to pronounce the word flop. Just focus on the fish because that's where the mistake comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
And it turns into flip flop flish, which I don't know what that is.
Yeah, enough about that. Otherwise, we're going to go crazy at almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Indeed.
The next race is Hungary. We are meant to have another commentator, but his internet is having issues. He's having issues. There's no sign of him online by looks of things. So he was going to tell me if he's back, but he's not. So unless someone else could join me, I'm basically stuck by myself for the next hour and a bit until he gets back. But he's we've got to deal with him anyway. If his internet died in the early hours, he was going to do a stint towards the end, so he could still commentate at least on one race. So so good he can't do this stint, but we'll see what happens anyway. He may be able to do a stint later on if someone else couldn't commentate or anything like that. But we'll have a little bit of a break whilst we get the lobby set up and the track sorted and getting the drivers in as well. I do believe we're having a new lobby up. Actually, no, we're not. We're staying in this one. So I believe you're going. Am I right, Austin, to have your?
If no one else joins you, I'm gonna stay.
Oh, thank you. Are you sure about
However,
that?
Owen says his internet is working for now. So he also says it could go down any minute now. Again, so
okay.
it's not exactly the most stable connection as it seems.
Shall we? I think we should get in for the next race. Not Hungary, but I'm just trying to think. I don't know why we're talking about it on stream, to be honest. But there we go. We need to fill some time at least, and the host needs to change the lobby to Hungary, not China. But yeah.
Yeah, after that, it's going to be Bahrain.
Yeah. He's saying if he's there for 30 minutes and not at all. It's a bit risky because we never know, he might drop out. But I'll try and get him in anyway. I'll try and get him in, and if he drops out, then I'll do the rest by myself. But thanks for coming on, Austin, and we might see you again soon.
Yeah, it might happen. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we're going to have a short break whilst they set up the lobby and we get the next commentator in the booth. So thanks.